This, out of all the episodes I've done, this is the only recording where it's been my night and the guest morning.
Okay, cool. Well, you won't be able to say that again.
I think this is the like I've had a lot of time differences, but I think this one being 14 hours is the hardest one to kind of navigate. But I think I mean it's fun for me. I hope it being early in the morning is fun for you.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking to someone in the future.
Yeah, actually, do you have any intel about what might transpire in the next day?
Yeah, I mean, the next day's it's been good so far. It's sunny and so far so good. No war, so nothing too crazy to report, but
Nice. Well, if anything happens over the next hour, let me know
yeah.
what I can look forward to or dread, depending
Yeah.
on the positivity of it. Are you a morning person, or is this like the least favorite time of day for you?
No, I think I've always been a morning person. Yeah, it's nice for me to get up and start my day. I mean, now life is adapted quite differently in the last few years since I had a son, but yeah, I enjoy morning, especially here with exercise or doing anything active. It gets way too hot later on in the day, so you got to sort of seize that morning hour. Otherwise, you're paying heat tax.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking as I was asking this, if you're here kind of under the pretense of running in the run club, it might be foolish of me to ask if you're a morning person. I think if I was to ask any of the runners I know that question, they would look at me kind of perplexed.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good way to start the day, anyways. That yeah, I've always been a morning person though.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm first time on the other end, but I always like starting the morning with a chat too. But also, it's kind of nice to end the day with the chat. So maybe this is the perfect time difference. One of us gets the benefit of morning, one of night.
You're in Edmonton?
Yes, I am. It's you know what? Today was actually nice. We've had so many false starts to spring. We had the thaw out and a couple like above 0 days. Then it snows. It snowed a bunch the other day, but today I hope it's safe to say, no, I'm going wood. I think spring is actually upon us.
That's good. Yeah, I don't know if Jay told you, but like we actually have, well, I guess quite a connection from a long time ago. Like I'm from Calgary. So I had actually been following Nowhere Fast since I'm gonna say like 2014 maybe, when you had a skate shop in what I believe was your apartment. Is that correct?
We had a skate shop, if you want to call it that. It was on the second floor of the building, but before
Right.
that, kind of around the time you're talking about, I would have operated whatever I was up to at that time would have been out of my apartment, and it would have actually looked like it was the shop out of an apartment at that time.
But you had to press a buzzer to get in, right?
Yeah, which I mean that was at the apartment, and then kind of out of necessity carried that over to the shop. When I was like real ish of a retail spot, there was still a buzzer, so it could be either or.
But I just remember you having some like pretty niche brands, and you were always sort of like ahead of the trend, and sort of you were just in the space like that was sort of the subsect of what generalized skateboarding would sort of be. And I was telling my friend this morning that I did a bicycle ride like from Canada to Patagonia in 2015 or something, and I had a Nowhere Fast sticker on my bike the whole time.
That's incredible. That's very cool. I knew I knew a little bit about these connections from Jason, and I was very curious to get into them and figure them all out. I didn't know about Calgary actually. In my I mean quote research, I had found that you were from BC.
Right. I actually lived in Revelstoke for a little bit, but I'm from Calgary.
Okay, then, I mean, first of all, that's the kindest way for someone to like summarize what was happening at the studio. Like I would hope that even one person kind of saw it the way you just described it, and it seems like you might be that person, so I really appreciate that. That it was fun. It was exactly a kind of random job with a lot of niche, weird stuff that some people liked and most people didn't understand. And there was a buzzer to get in, so I think you got all that right as well. I'm curious about how did you go from Calgary to Revelstoke or maybe back home and then out to Bali?
I mean, I guess adventure and travel came from snowboarding, really. Like it was traveling to go snowboarding or to do things like that. And I worked at a skate shop in Canada called The Source. And my friend Jordan had a brand that he started there, and I would help him do graphics and stuff. And he would make the clothes in Indonesia. So actually, when I was finishing said bicycle ride, I was in Argentina, and he messaged me and said, "Hey," or we were talking on the phone, and he said, "What are you doing next year?" And I said, "I'm not sure. I'm just trying to like wrap this whole adventure up." I'd spent 3 years traveling by bicycle, and I was sort of just trying to figure out what was next for me. And he's like, "All right, well, I'm opening a new cafe in Bali, and I want you to come and be the manager." He's like, "I'll get you your plane ticket and your working visa and everything, and I'll fly you out, and you can just get started." So it's funny. I hadn't seen my family in 3.5 years, and I flew home, and I already knew that I was going to do something else in like 2 or 3 months. So it was quite interesting to go home and know that I had a continuation of this travel sort of in the works. And yeah, I thought it was a year commitment, and now I've been in Indonesia for almost 8 years.
Really, really cool. When I hear that type of thing, I always tell people like that. The idea being that kind of spontaneous, especially after a long trip, and then you think you're gonna be home, and then you know it's not permanent. That kind of terrifies me. But I assume you love that type of thing, right? Or else you wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, I think that that initial adventure was sort of this life fork in the road, if you want to call it that, where you could go down the like traditional path of normality, let's call it, or you can go right and find your own path. And I went hard right, and I sort of just never looked back. So I think that the lifestyle here and the people that it attracts from outside of Indonesia and even within the Indonesian little subcultures, it sort of just felt right, and it became a place that felt like home pretty quickly. Not really that quickly, but as I settled more into accepting that I was living here, um, it became a place that I wouldn't want to be anywhere else right now. I don't think.
No, I was actually gonna ask how long did it take for you to feel like at home out there? I would maybe I could get used to something like that, but even thinking about it seems like too I just it's not my thing and it would take me a very long time to settle in if I did. Like how long would you say like a year, 6 months?
No, much longer than that. It's because it's such a transient place. Like you have a lot of people coming and going all the time. So you sort of have to be okay with these short friendships and like just take as much as you can out of these short little relationships that you have. I think it probably took 3 or 4 years before I found like a solid crew. And that's where this whole community of flowerboy comes into it, where amongst friends, we sort of had to create this space that was like a clubhouse for people that were hanging around a bit more, or that when people came back, they knew that that was the place they could go and be recognized and feel at home, you know?
Ah, that very cool. So you ended up like making somewhere new your home and then kind of striving to make a home for other people there as well.
Yeah. and it's been, I mean, it's really special. Every time we host runs twice a week, and running was never my thing before, so it's amazing the ripple effect that it's had on myself, and just seeing people in the community going from, running their first 5K to then, I don't know if you follow the running thing, but it's insane how quickly it just gets consumed. It consumes people, and it allows you to really understand the potential that people have. And I think the space that our group of friends has made there is like I call it like the foundation for potential. So I really, I'm grateful that people also see it that way, and that it's become this thing that's like way bigger than the physical space itself.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you were running prior to like moving out there. Like it sounds like cycling probably took up a majority of the time, but was there any running at all till you got there? Or is it brand new?
No, I mean, I sort of used to just see it as like, why would you do that? Like I always rode a bike, or I skateboarded, or I wanted like more fun than what I thought. Just like running was pretty linear almost. But then coming from snowboarding and enjoying mountain biking and stuff, I found trail running to be this new sense of being able to explore spaces. And as you gain fitness, it enables you to be sort of a little bit more curious about how you can get to certain places and from here to there. And like, yeah, I sort of use it as a tool for adventure and discovery more than anything. Yeah.
And then, like, what are you doing for snowboarding these days? I assume that's harder.
YouTube. I'm just watching it on YouTube. Yeah. There's quite a crew here that goes to Japan every winter, but it hasn't really been on my list. I think I've accepted that life gives you these like these chapters of things that are in and that you can really focus on. And for me, the cup of snowboarding and those adventures was overflowing anyways. And when I get back to it, I think it'll be like introducing it to my son and being able to share moments like that with him when we do come back to Canada or visit places that have snow.
That's an amazing way to look at it. I was gonna ask, do you get home often or ever?
Yeah, my wife's from Australia, so we go there more often. But since having him, we've been back a couple times, and then I think this winter we'll try to come back. Trying to convince like an Australian that hasn't seen snow or anyone to like want to go to Canada, especially Calgary in the winter time. It's like it's a tough thing to convince anyone. Be like, oh, -30, it's a great time. Like it's yeah, it's not very attractive.
That's exactly what I was thinking when you talked about coming home in the winter. I feel either, yeah, that very hard sell, or if you're gonna bend the truth and convince them to come here, they're gonna be kind of mad once they see what it's really like at that time of year.
It's drastic. I think if you're in the mountains and you can at least like play with it a little bit, it's more fun. But winter in the city, especially in Alberta, can be a dreadful experience if you're not of the positive mindset. At least it's sunny. That helps a lot.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Although I don't know. I kind of feel like it's been sunny a bit less in Alberta over these winters. They've been especially gloomy lately.
Mm.
Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, I think living here made me appreciate seasons more for sure. Like that's one thing that I miss is like the change of seasons. And I don't know, just changing around that. Where here it's like 12 hours of light every day. It's 6 till 6. You have rainy season, you have sunny season. That's about it.
I mean, that sounds like perfect, but I could see like too much of anything isn't always good.
True. Yeah.
So what, like when you did start to see running differently and it became more part of your day to day, what made that change for you?
Um, necessity, I think, like with having a new kid and having less time to be out on the bicycle or to do these things. I saw running and damn, in 20 minutes I can just like smoke myself, and it's hard. And the sky was sort of limitless as to like the how far you could take it. So yeah, it was more just out of necessity of not having as much time and still wanting to exercise. And I appreciated the how hard it was, like especially at the start.
Do you always like a challenge, or was this kind of an isolated incident?
Um, yeah, I think I've always appreciated challenges, and I know that yeah, I'm not like naturally that gifted at much, and I have to like work hard to figure things out, whether that was skateboarding or anything really, snowboarding. Like so, yeah, I think it's just about the discipline and showing up consistently and seeing progression that way that I'm pretty good at.
What's the skateboard scene like out there? Can you like guess at all or ascertain?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of friends that come, like local friends that come to Run Club. And when I first moved here, I was skateboarding a lot more than I do now. But yeah, there's some amazing skateboarders here. This one dude named Sanggoe, he's like a Red Bull New Balance guy, and the talent level is out of control. Street skating is like not as much of a thing because it's like so condensed and like not very good ground and stuff. So um it seems like more of them come out of like skate park sort of contest style skating from what I've seen, but there's a huge scene. I mean, Jakarta has like more people than all of Canada in a condensed area, so every subculture exists there in an amazing way, you know. And skateboarding is definitely part of that.
Perfect. That actually sort of leads me into a question the population might factor in. Look, going through like your media and stuff, looking at the runs you guys are doing,
Uh-huh.
it's like a huge amount of people. Maybe it just seems normal to you, but that's a lot of people to me. Did it
Yeah,
like do you is that because there's so many more people there that like there's just by the numbers gonna be more runners, or do you think people just like really took to running? Like the question is basically how is there so many people in this run club, and it's amazing.
yeah. I think what you're saying is obviously part of it, but from what I've learned is like Indonesia in general, the culture provides community as like a very important part of it, like with religion and with celebration and all these things. Yeah, community is such a integrated part of life here that I think if you provide something for them to grow outside of, in the West we call it a third space. You know, have you heard that term?
Yeah.
Here it's religion, it's the temple, it's church, it's these things where we have it like, oh, it's a cafe or it's a gym. So we're providing almost what to them would be a fourth space where they can come together outside of religion and general community and be part of something greater. So if we're providing something for them to have a space to do this, they support it like wholeheartedly. And I think a lot of more like Western style businesses here lack the integration of local culture. And when people lean into that, it's supported like wholeheartedly. And this, yeah, the amount of people we've had at runs outside of Bali as well is mind blowing, man.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, I was looking at it and it was hard to even like comprehend. Like I know people running in Canada and even in the States, and they have great run clubs, and didn't look like they were doing those numbers at all. I was just so curious how it was built. Was it always? I mean, of course, everything grows over time, but was there a big crowd from the beginning, or did it like start small and then grow to what it is now?
Yeah, it was more just consistency of showing up and having a like a clubhouse sort of space that people knew, okay, every Wednesday, every Saturday, this is the place that you meet. And I don't know, we sort of got lucky with the trend of run clubs that we started just before that sort of whole thing blew up. And we made it through, is run club the new nightclub thing? And I sort of always tried to like not lean into that too much just to make people feel safe and like that you don't have to get hit on at run club or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, it's just sort of grown over time and yeah, it's insane. I got to run with Gabri from Mental Athletic when I was in Milan last year. And he was saying like imagine running here with 100 people. Like you're going to get hit by a train, you're going to get hit by a car, you're always just consistently dodging everything on these tiny little streets, you know. So we're at the advantage that we're in a little bit more of like a call it rural area of Bali where there's rice fields and there's open space and definitely less rules to like bend yourself around to make something happen. So um yeah, we can show up with 200 people and we don't really have to ask anyone, you know. We could just go do it and everyone's pretty laid back, so it doesn't really cause too many issues.
Do you think that like how many of the people running are were running already and then found like a space to like further that, or how many people are actually picking up running because they're intrigued by what's going on with the run club?
I think I'm gonna say I don't know, just a random number. Probably like 80% of people start because of their friend is like, "Hey, come to Run Club" or this or that, and yeah, and then they just get hooked and want to keep going, you know. So my whole thing with the Run Club is that I had never even ran 10K before we ran a 10K run club. So I understand what it feels like to show up somewhere and feel slow or feel like you're out of place. So I really focus on trying to make people feel comfortable. And sometimes that's most of the time that's running at the back at a really slow pace and encouraging people. And I always tell people to be the reason why people want to come back, you know? Because those are the most important people. The people who come all the time, you know, they're showing up, but to change someone's life in a positive way and, you know, ensure that they had the best time that they could and felt seen and felt encouraged enough to come back the next time and try again. And then you see them then go sign up for a race or whatever it might be, whatever their version of crazy is, and achieve that is the most fulfilling part of the whole thing, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I would assume that would be like the best part or one of the best parts. It's also very cool that you kind of experience like the entry to the club running for the first time you did kind of firsthand to get it all going, and a lot of people might not have their first experience be the same thing as a lot of other people's first experience.
Mm,
So that like it definitely to me seems like a bonus. Seems like you can be more empathetic and like address them based on how you felt doing it.
yeah. Sometimes it can be frustrating, like with people just wanting content or people more focused on selfie sticks and whatever else than the actual run itself. So sometimes I just let people do their own thing and let them figure it out. But especially if they have headphones in or whatever, like if I'm at the back and I'm trying to help you and you have headphones in, I can't really help you too much, you know?
Yeah, yeah, of course. That not really your fault. Definitely more their fault, I would say.
Yeah. Hmm. But recently we went viral somehow on Chinese social media. So on Saturdays, it's incredible the amount of people that I get messages from, like in full Chinese lettering or whatever, before the run, and then they all just show up and they love flowerboy so much and just like come in groves and really just want to be part of it all. So yeah, and then with this whole thing with Jay, the global reach of this tiny little space is yeah, it's cool.
What happened with going viral? Someone just posted something from one of the runs?
Yeah, I guess there was just some influencer type that came. Bali's like attracts that type of person anyways, but yeah, some influencers came and said Flower Boy is sort of the place to be. So it became this I don't know, traveling is about these moments that you post on Instagram or whatever. And Flower Boy Run sort of became that moment that people wanted to have social proof that they were in Bali running through the rice field at sunrise and whatever else. And our route is very scenic anyway, so it lends to that sort of ethos, I guess.
Is it like do you keep the same route each run, or does it change at all?
Uh, it changes sometimes. I try to keep it pretty consistent. Now we have a sort of halfway point on a. I'll either do 5 or 10, but the first 3 or 4 Ks together, and we stop at this little temple on the beach and take a group photo, and it's just a very beautiful start to the morning. So,
Yeah, I
um,
think these
yeah,
group photos are what was blowing me away with the turnout of the runs, I think.
yeah, it's crazy, and everyone wants to like to be part of that, you know.
Yeah, no, it's actually it's funny because there are like some like trends and things I see online that I think maybe are like performative, or everyone's like trying to prove how big the squad is, but for some reason run club group photos seem so authentic to me, and they like are the only photos I see where I'm like, how could anyone look at this and not want to be in that group?
Yeah, true.
So I totally understand why like run clubs show the squad and then grow every time. Like it makes so much sense to me.
What about for you though? Like you're in a wheelchair, yeah?
Yeah.
So how like do you show up to things like that, or is there like a space where you can feel comfortable like with other people in the same situation, or like do you go out and try to get involved in that kind of thing?
I mean I think really the reason that we're chatting, like the reason I got tied in with Minor Planet is because my girlfriend is a marathon runner. She's an arcteryx athlete, and so I live like 100% vicariously through her, and I
Okay,
was actually kind of with the closure of Nowhere Fast, like as a retail space, I kind of missed the community and the conversations and, mattering to people and having them matter to you. That was like, well, I didn't miss a lot of the like monetary stress and the bad days. There was a lot of stuff I could do with never thinking about it again, but the community in that way, like I really yearned for that. And then I started to kind of realize like what running offered. And Sarah is my girlfriend's name. Her and all her friends, the way they just did all this was so cool to me. So I just sort of weaseled my way into like having runners on the pod and like all that type of stuff. And I figure I somewhat have a pass through Sarah. Like I think it would be really weird if you maybe not weird, I don't want to get in trouble, but someone in a wheelchair just started like inserting themselves in run culture. It would be kind of weird, but I get a bit of a pass because of Sarah's involvement. So
okay.
I go to things like that and I pay attention, and I talk to so many running people on here just because I feel I can at least keep up with the conversation with them just based on what I've learned from Sarah and her friends. So
Hmm.
I try to go to those things. I don't know if I can like get in all the photos mid run, but I go to the events and stuff, and as much as I can, love it. I love
Cool.
it, and I get like why it's so intoxicating. Like it's very cool to witness, and I can't even walk, let alone run. I love it, so I get why other people would.
Hmm. Yeah, I think like especially with brands like Minor Planet and Home Run and all these, and especially with your podcast, it's quite diverse. The people you're talking to, you're talking to skate people, you're talking to graffiti heads, designers, and in my experience, running never was there was never really an invitation necessarily for people like that to go running or feel like they were invited in, you know? Where now you have these brands that are mixing culture as a whole into, and running becomes part of that sort of thing. So people are like, "Oh, running is skateboarding." It's not, but the feeling that you get where there's you can show up somewhere and no one cares why you're there besides the fact that you're there to run, the same way you could show up to a skate park and people don't care. They're not asking questions about why you're there. You're there because you like skateboarding or whatever. And the community aspect of it, I think, is the glue that keeps people coming back, like what you're saying.
Oh, definitely. And you know what I've experienced is like because my guest list is so all over the place. There are episodes, graffiti people, designers, where not the entire audience might listen or like that episode or relate to it in any way. But I feel whenever I have runners on, everyone either runs or knows runners, like no matter what their main subculture is, they listen to the running ones. And I feel like I hear the most feedback from like the most random like graffiti writer will tell me they really like this running centric episode, and I never really hear it the other way. Like no one I know who is running is kind of what they put forward, like that's their main thing online. They're not like, oh, that was a really sick episode with that like graph writer or whatever, but the opposite. It's always runners getting the respect from everyone.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think the way that you provide it is the people will listen if you provide the episode, and I think there's probably takeaways and through lines of questions you ask and your intention behind it that will keep leading you into meeting rad people and being involved in things like what's happening in London next weekend, you know?
Yes, I agree for sure. And you know what? I do. Obviously, you're here for many reasons, but I guess to talk about London would be kind of the main thing. But I have one question about Flowerboy. I just want to know, did the was the cafe open before the Run Club started meeting, or was it all kind of like launched at the same time? Like, did the cafe open knowing there would be the run component?
No, the run club started, I think, 6 months after they opened the cafe. And the cafe is only like it's was a broom closet. It's a 3 by 3 meter space. So to understand that aspect and then the reach that it has, I mean, the reach happens because Bali's such a global destination and you get people from all over the world. I think that's the biggest difference with the people who show up. I've gone to run clubs in Sydney, I've gone to run clubs in Vancouver, and generally you're meeting people that are from there, which is cool. But here you got, like this morning we would have had people from China, people from Norway, people from Germany, people from Ukraine, like all over the entire world. So to see people build these global connections and then meet somewhere for a marathon and do all these things together is and like wearing Flowerboy merch or something is that's coolest shit, man.
And all of it out of a room that can probably hold 4 to 6 people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool.
That's quite incredible. Do you remember, actually I should ask, were there, I know you said your first run would have been for the run club, but was it you leading the first run for the run club, or did you come after it was started?
No, it was sort of there's a small crew of us hanging out there, and I think there was 4 people and a couple girls and my friend Sean, and I was like, "Hey, you guys want to start a run club?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, cool. Like, let's meet here on Saturday and we'll run at 6 in the morning." And then it progressed from there. I think we probably hosted maybe 5 or 10 runs, and then like, "Oh, we're gonna introduce a Wednesday run and we're gonna run 10K." My friend Tyson suggested that, and then the day before he was like, "Oh, I'm sick, I can't show up." So I showed up, and it was like all these dudes showed up with heart rate monitor, like runners, you know. And I was like, "Oh shit!" Like now I got to go run 10K, and I had done 10K once before that, begrudgingly, and yeah, so it's sort of snowballed from there. And now we have people in our run club that are running 100K and doing all this like seemingly impossible things because of the foundation that we sort of created for them, you know?
And it's every Wednesday and every Saturday, no matter what, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's been like I mean, tropical storms are no joke. So showing up when it's hammering down rain with crazy wind, and sometimes there'd only be, 5 people that show up. And other times in the rain, there'd be people like 40 people that show up. And you're like, what? Like, no one wanted to sleep in, you know? So, yeah. we just get it done. And I just made sure that I was consistent in always showing up and making sure that people knew no matter what, 6 a.m., Wednesday, Saturday, someone's there to run with you.
So is it you every like twice a week, every week, or do you like trade off?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not here, I'll get someone else to do it, but I'm open. Lots of locals, I try to get them involved and, get them out of their comfort zone. I never really enjoyed public speaking per se. So to allow someone else to feel comfortable enough to host a run, or especially women, like I want to empower like local women and the women of our run club. So sometimes I say, okay, so and so, you can do the speech and you can lead the way. And I think that's a big part of it is locals, and everyone just feels so welcome there. And the community aspect, as much as that word gets thrown around, it's yeah, it's a big part of it. And making sure that we're actually bettering the community that we get to run in. So there's initiatives here, like this guy from the States named Sam. They have a thing called Sungai Watch. Sungai means river in Indonesia. So they clean all the rivers in Indonesia. They're actually running right now from Bali to Jakarta, which is about 1200K. So they do a half marathon every day, and they clean a river in like a rural area every day for until they get there.
That is the coolest slash most insane thing I've ever. That is so much running.
Right.
That's very cool.
So there was a interview with the guy from Renegade Running. I can't remember his name, but he really enforced that idea of, sure, you call yourself a community, but what are you doing to actually better the community that allows you to run and your space to be there? So I took that to heart, and I really just tried to make sure that we were actually making the space that we get to run in a better place. So that means cleaning it up, um, just being involved in the actual community aspect of it itself is pretty important, I think.
Yeah, no, no, super important. And that's funny. When I was saying community was one of the things I missed about the studio, I was cringing in my head using that word. And I know it gets thrown around so much these days, especially I mean, with the whole like run club being the new nightclub, community is in there too. And I felt weird about using it. I'm glad you don't like the word in most senses either, because even though I used it, I don't either.
Yeah, but I think if it's actually being used in a positive way and it's like uplifting everyone as a community should, then it's great.
Yeah, I agree. Um, all right, now what is your See, I was trying to gather some intel from all the Minor Planet people, but I know everyone is super busy getting ready for the week. No one really got back to me with the intel I was looking for, so I'm gonna use my stupidity and my uninformedness to have you explain to me and the listeners what is Flower Boy's tie to the Minor Planet London marathon programming.
It's kind of funny actually. My wife is she follows like Hari Krishna, and she's part of like Bhakti yoga, and she sings kirtan. So it's like a sing and response mantra. And our friends from Furies, which is a run crew in Sydney, they did a pop-up last year in New York. And through that, I saw this merch that had like Hari Krishna ties to it, but with running. And I was like, oh, what's up with that? And then I found Jay's brand, and I messaged them, and I was like asking him where the connections were. And just through that, yeah, just sort of, I guess, connected through that. And yeah, we started chatting. And then I think the connection between running being a connection to your inner self and outer possibilities, was the major connection. Just the messaging, I think, behind the running, and how we both approach it as like per se a spiritual practice of sorts, or like an element of that, an element of self-discovery, I think, was the main connection between us and them.
And then what is the actual you is Flower Boy just having merch at the pop-up, or are you hosting? I like.
No, we're not coming there. We have a pack mule that will go run the London Marathon, a guy who comes to our run club. He's from the UK, but he has an Indonesian wife, so he's going back there, and I'll just send him with some shirts, and he'll deliver them to the to the pop up.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that's exactly. I mean, I wish I gotta go eventually and see it all in person, but I've just been doing these episodes with people who are involved in the pop-ups that they're curating, which I love it. It's incredible. I get to meet new people, talk to them about cool stuff, and they kind of find them for me. Like Jason's just like, all right, should talk to this person. It'll be cool. It's nice when I don't have to figure out who I'm going to talk to every week. It's fun, but it becomes a lot sometimes. And I knew before this, I was like, I don't want to go into this not knowing at all like what the tie to Minor Planet would be, and then no response. So here I am going into it without knowing, but now I know at least.
Yeah, and I think if you see the list of brands that are on there, there's so many awesome brands doing such cool things, and to have a central place where they can all connect, and even just Rec from Vancouver, like doing the shirt is so cool. I've looked up to him and his brand, like A Cold World, for so long, and he's always just been so proper with all of his designs. So I saw that and I was like, oh, what? Like, damn, that's so sick. So it's funny how all these previously interesting things for me, whether that was design, graffiti, skateboarding, all are now blending sort of somehow into how this chapter of running, you know?
Yeah, that Red doing the design actually was so meaningful to me as well because before, I think it would have actually even been before you would have heard about Noah Fast in 2014. Before that, I still don't know what I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing then. I think I had made some hats, and Rack used to run a store in Vancouver called Sharks and Hammers, and I think he
Okay.
carried the hat. So I don't know him that well, but I've known of him for so long, and then to have Jason reach out to see if I want to do some podcast stuff, and that Rack was doing the design, that was kind of maybe not full circle, but it's like a moment from my past coming back in a good way. That was nice too.
Yeah, it shows you're on the right path, man. It's cool, and you're being authentic to, the whole time. It's nice.
So no, you're obviously not going there, but have you done any of the marathons, like any of the majors before?
I've never actually ran in a marathon before. No, I've done always been more into trail stuff. So just trail runs in Indonesia. Last year I did a trail run in Portugal that I failed, but I've never actually ran in like a scheduled marathon. I never really had much interest in running on the road, but last year I went to the one here in Bali, and again that like support from people around was so crazy. We just had a cheer section there, and it was so cool to see the diversity of people that are running it. That I don't know. I would love to be able to go to New York or go to any of these places where I heard someone say the New York Marathon is really special because it's the only time that people will cheer for people that aren't from there,
Oh, I
you know?
see. I went with Sarah 2 years ago to New York, and it kind of is what almost started my whole like infatuation with all this. Like that was when, actually, the year before she had ran London, I went and
Okay.
watched, and I thought I was like 95% sold. I was like, this is very cool. I get it. I'm almost all the way. Then we went New York the next year, and I was like 300%. I get it. New York was so cool to see how much the city cared about everyone doing that, but I had never heard it put the way you just put it. Like where it's the only time they'll cheer for people who aren't New Yorkers. That's very cool. I'm gonna tell Sarah. I'll credit that you said it, but I'm gonna tell her that anecdote.
Comes from someone else, but yeah, the aspect of just the diversity of people doing it for so many different reasons and seeing the front of the pack run, like there's poetry in that. It's so beautiful to see someone who actually looks good running, because for me, if I ever see a photo of myself running, I'm like gasping for air and look like I'm gonna die. But to see people running like that is beautiful. And then to see people in their like they're breaking through this mental barrier just to finish and collapsing at the finish line and like all the action around it. It's a beautiful thing, man. Yeah, it's really cool. So one day we'll be at one together, you know?
Yeah, actually, I was gonna ask, like, do you have any? Do you think in the future there will be any intent to do any road running, or like, are you set with trail from now on?
Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. I think if I got invited, and again, running with Gabri from Mental Athletic, he just goes and he's like, it's the most beautiful way to explore a city, man. He's like, you just get to go run. He doesn't give a shit about the time that he runs or anything. He just goes and gets amongst it, you know? So I think that's more my would be my approach to it. I appreciate the training aspect and like the goal setting and all this stuff, but I think going back to my connection with running of exploration and discovery, it is a beautiful way to go see a new space. So to be amongst that energy and get to see the city in a new way would be a really special way to travel. So yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. I think you'll see me out there one day.
That's kind of like a joke I always make to Sarah when I go with her to do these runs. I get I mean, I guess I don't get to claim that I did it. That's a huge like feat for anyone. But I somewhat experienced it without any of the hard parts. Like London was actually crazy. I still am blown away. I have no idea how they let me do this, but I was just trying to get to the finish line. So I'm like wheeling around asking people like, "Oh, my girlfriend's running. Can you let me through this barrier or whatever?" And they ended up just letting, like, I was in the middle of the road, like after the finish line, so I wasn't in anyone's way, but I was right in the race. Like, they just kept lifting barriers and pushing me through, and eventually I was just immediately in it. And I joked with Sarah, like, I felt like what I was like, and I slept in every morning. Like, I didn't do any training for this. It's nice to experience this all without like the all the hard parts that her and her friends go through. I'm sure Gabri is obviously training a bit, but yeah, it's nice. It's refreshing to hear someone not care as much about all the, I guess, not vanity metrics, but the like times and numbers and all that.
Yeah, I think any way that you approach it, you're bettering yourself in the process. So whatever way you want to do it, you can just go out and just yeah, enjoy it in any way you can. And that includes you, like you being let through and feeling that energy, I think is infectious and, you remember it's a core memory for you, so
Oh, for sure. I'd never. I don't think I could ever forget that. It was very cool. Do you know how many people run the Bali Marathon?
oh, I don't know numbers, but it would be in the thousands. But like the culture in Bali is so sick, man. Like you'll have people on the side of the road in like their full ceremonial gear playing music and cheering you on and just yeah, it's the same in New York or LA or whatever. Like there's people playing music and there's like elements of each neighborhood that get like, the spotlight and yeah, it's really amazing, man. It's so cool. People like and then there's people who just like in Australian terms like take the piss and like wear a funny outfit or just like whatever, and it's like there's such a beautiful side to that aspect of running as well that it sort of balances it all out.
And is the city, like, is Bali really into the event? Like, does everyone get involved? Because I feel that's when the real positivity spreads. Like when kind of the whole city gets behind an event like that.
Yeah, I mean Bali isn't it's it's like it'd be like Alberta. Like Bali is a province of Indonesia. So you have a small city within that, but the amount of people is way less than what you would have in a major city. So I wouldn't say the whole city gets involved, but there's people who don't run that are out there getting amongst it. So they do what they can, and it's very special. It's so hot, man. Like for anyone to be able to finish here is legendary, man. It's insane how humid it is.
Yeah, that another nightmare of mine. I hate humidity, and there was even we were in Berlin the I guess last year it would have been, and she ran that one. It was the hottest day in the Berlin Marathon history. I think it was the hottest day the marathon has ever been on, and it wasn't even that bad. And I again wasn't running at all, and that was really hot. Like it was hot for me just to exist. So I could only imagine someone running like that must be hell.
Yeah, it's you see people struggling for sure. But yeah, each one I think has its own little elements and challenges that make it unique to the area, you know?
So you're designing a lot of the Flower Boy like merch, right?
Yeah, most of it. We've had Jesse from Furies do a shirt with us. For the most part, yeah. Just whipping things up how I see them, and generally can like do some sort of post around it, and if that gets well received, then it can make a shirt, and yeah, go from there.
And that so like I'm just thinking of the amount of people I see in these photos, and then I'm imagining them, a portion of them getting the merch each time. So I guess this probably wasn't the point of it all, but you guys must be moving a ton of merch.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Especially here, like the Indonesians love it. I think the connection with some of the brands that we work with, and them allowing us to sort of grow with them, gives us like a little bit of legitimacy, I guess, in the space. And yeah, I just try to make it stuff that I would want to wear. And production here is fairly easy compared to other places. So yeah, we're able just to like make small amounts, and it's still a small enough brand, I guess, that we can make mistakes and no one notices. So I sort of try to take advantage of that as much as I can before it's like people see your downfall or whatever, you know?
Yeah, that. I mean, I don't know what it's like to be big enough. You shouldn't make mistakes, but I know I'm small and make mistakes, and I love the mistakes. It's fun.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And sometimes the shit that you don't like at all is the hit, you know? And yeah, it's fun.
But it almost always goes that way for me. Like wouldn't make something I didn't like, but the one thing where I'm like, all right, I don't know if this is really gonna hit with people. That one does. And when I have something I think might do well, it does less well. It's all a learning curve with that.
Yeah. I think from me being like a full-time visual artist for so long, that those pieces are connected to a vulnerability, and that's why people connect with it, because it's real and it's has a sprinkling of authenticity that other stuff might not have. You know, when you're trying to make something that's going to sell, there people can feel that. When you're just doing it from your heart and in a way that is authentic to you, people connect with that. Even within like sort of subconsciously, they connect with it because it's real. And those are the hardest pieces to release sometimes, because it's so connected to you as a person that it's hard, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I get exactly what you mean. I was thinking too the like from what I know about actually making and sourcing clothes, a lot of the good stuff kind of comes from Indonesia. So you must be like kind of in the heart of the like manufacturing. It must be me. I mean, none of it's easy, but it must be like more accessible for you.
Yeah, I mean, like the shirts for London, we had the idea, yeah, we can get them in whatever 2 weeks or something, and it's like the minimum orders. I think we probably make 200 shirts a month or something, and yeah, we can fire them off, and now we have our fits and we have everything sort of set up that we can just have ideas and make it happen. So yeah, it's cool.
That's incredible. If I make anything, it might be that quick for me to make it, but then I Gotta wait for it to maybe even come from over there, like sit on a boat for a bit. Takes like 2 weeks is it would never happen that fast for me, but I'm very, very jealous that you're able to make good stuff that quick, like nice turnaround.
Yeah, and it's all like handmade here. So we buy the roll of fabric, it gets stone washed, dyed, and then printed on the island, and yeah, we have it. So yeah, it's all from Bali. So it's pretty cool to have that like kind of connection to for it.
Yeah, most people wouldn't have even, maybe check one of those boxes, but not all of them. Again, very, very jealous that you're able to make stuff with that ease.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, maybe we can make something together one day. If I come back to Canada, we can mule you some shirts or whatever.
Yeah, I mean that would probably be incredible. I think anything I do seems cheap, and then you put on all the middlemen and all the shipping, and it's getting insane for me lately. But it's also funny that you consider 200 to be like a small amount that would be the most of anything I've ever made. I like just recently kind of leveled up to doing 100 hats at a time, and that's like I can't imagine or believe that I even got there.
Yeah, I mean, we've also ordered 100 hats at a time, and I still probably have 60 of them. So it's like sometimes things work and sometimes things don't. But yeah, we try to limit the shirts to 50 pieces, and they're like all numbered, so it becomes a little more special to have one, and then we don't repeat the same color shirt with the same graphic. So it's kind of fun to do things that way.
Oh, is that like a kind of unwritten or written rule? Like you never repeat the same design or colors?
Yeah, I just want it to feel special for people to like have it.
Yeah, no, I love either numbering things or at least knowing the amount of stuff. Just to for me to know, like, it's cool knowing I have a hat that only 99 other people in the world could have. But I've been, I'll redo a colorway if people ask for it. I like the idea of never like repeating it, but I that luxury is not mine yet.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I'll take the same graphic and just put it as a different color on a different color shirt or whatever, but I try to keep it at that 50 number is sort of nice.
And then how often are you releasing flowerboy merch? Like, is it just whenever? Or like, because it could, if it was every race, that would be, or every night, that would be insane.
No, it's not every run club. Maybe once a month we have a new shirt or something like that. Once or twice a month. If that. Usually it's once a month really that I'll maybe do like a couple. But then sometimes you have an influx of shirts and you're just like, oh shit, like this one didn't sell, so I don't want to have like too many options because then people get decision fatigue or whatever, and then yeah, it's always just juggling and seeing what works and just figuring it out. But let's say once a month we have a new shirt.
That's impressive, still very impressive. Do there are people wearing the merch that aren't runners? Like, has it spread outside of that group?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, lots of people. Yeah, it's cool. I think because Bali is such a destination for people, it sort of acts as a cool souvenir. And especially when we've done races, it's so hard to find merchandise from any race that you'd want to wear. So my whole thing is like, if we have a race, I want the merch to be something that people actually want. So yeah, lots of people. I mean, I always try to add the element of like it knowing that it's from Bali. Doesn't always say run club on it, all these things, like there's definitely people around that are wearing it or that order it from all over the place where you're like, dude, the shipping costs more than the shirt. They're like, I don't care, I want it. And to see people really support it and want to be part of it is yeah, crazy.
Where's the like most obscure place you've sent merch to?
Oh, I mean, most of it is within Indonesia, but I mean, seeing people like wear our original hat in all the marathons that they've run, like, they're wearing it on in Seoul, or they're wearing it, in wherever, Denmark, or like some random marathon, and they're like happy to rep Flower Boys. That's cool. I can't think of I think probably the States is like the furthest that we've sent something. I guess London's pretty far too now, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, where you are, that's like the far distance. Dude, and people might
Yeah.
treat those hats kind of like a good luck charm. Like if they set a PR wearing it, maybe they have to wear it every time now for the rest of their like running career.
Yeah, they're like sun faded and like probably disgusting in some fashion, but yeah, yeah, it's so cool that people just have that little good luck charm, and it happens to say Flower Boy on it. Is, yeah, special.
I love seeing people with like really worn in merch that we've made from a while ago, and running would probably expedite that process. Like I have this running a bunch is gonna look the most worn in and the coolest.
Yeah. I mean, we've also never made specific running gear. I never wanted to make like, polyester plastic shit. So I've always just done cotton shirts, and people can run it if they want. It might not be the best thing to run in, but people still love just repping it and being part of it. So I'm, yeah, grateful for that.
I see some discourse online lately actually of people saying, well, we need to go back to running in just cotton t-shirts. Like all the tech stuff has gotten too advanced and it's not really helping at this point. And a lot of people are calling for just like cotton workout gear again. So maybe that'll be another kind of trend that you guys are doing like beforehand, and you'll just ride that one out as well.
Yeah, I think it just became more of like an identifier, or like, if you see someone in the airport wearing a Flower Boy shirt, there's like an icebreaker there or whatever. It wasn't meant to be like a trend of running in cotton. It was more just, I'm part of this subculture, the signifier of that. Or I guess that's what it became.
Yeah, like either way, it's awesome that people would like, see someone wearing it, and that's enough to like talk to them or relate to them in any sort of way. That's I think the best reason for merch, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
I is there anything that I'm not like anything you want to say about Flower Boy or about running or whatever is happening with you that I haven't given you the chance to talk about yet?
No, I was pretty open-minded to where the conversation would lead, and I think there might be a couple of good takeaways. And if anything, it's just yeah, be authentic, and the right people will come to you, just like what this whole pop-up is. Like, I wish I could be there to meet and greet everyone that's on the back of that shirt, and one day it'll happen. But yeah, I'm grateful to be part of such a great crew of brands and people all doing authentic, awesome shit. It's cool.
I was reading the back of the shirt the other night and just like so like amazed that there were this many people together on a shirt. Really, like so many interesting people all like doing something for the betterment of someone else. All these logos in one, I just like it was one of those kind of pinch me moments. I'm like maybe the least involved. I'm just podcasting on behalf of a couple people involved, but still, like to have my logo with all these other logos was very cool.
No, give yourself some credit, man. You've been at it for a long time, and yeah, there's a reason why you're there. So, yeah, I'm super happy to be part of this podcast, and yeah, I'm grateful for your time and the effort that you're putting in to, tell people's stories and bring people together.
Thank you. Yeah, it's cool that I mean we've talked now through this, like just through the weird, like the way I met Jason and the way you like noticed these things in their designs, and you met him, and then for him to introduce us. Very cool. I'm always grateful to be a part of what they're building. It seems like I mean when I met Jason, there wasn't even these pop-ups, like they weren't conceived yet. And then in this time
Mm.
I've seen him like do I think three of them now, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger every time. I just like can't even imagine like what he's gonna do and what he's gonna have everyone else like doing next time and next time, and hopefully we are all together at some point. That would be very cool too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I look forward to that.
Well, before I kick us off or hop off, do you want to let anyone listening know where they can find Flower Boy or whatever you want to promote? The mic is yours. Please go ahead.
Yeah, if you're in Bali, we host runs on Wednesdays and Saturdays. This next weekend, we have the pop up with Minor Planet and another one with a space in Hackney called Knees Up. So you can find our stuff there. And then we're working on something in Tokyo in July. But yeah, Flower Boy Studio on Instagram is probably the best place to see what we're up to.
Get a busy couple months at it, and that's great to hear.
Yeah, I'm grateful for the opportunities and things just keep popping up that are, like you said, pinch me moments and shows that we're doing something right.
Cool. Thank you very much for doing again early morning for you, evening for me. I appreciate your time and your answers. Beyond that, enjoy the rest of the weekend and everything else. Good luck. I know you need it, but I'll extend it either way.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening and know the future is bright.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, nothing extreme happened over this hour that I need to know about.
No, we're all good, man.
Perfect.
Lots to look forward to.
Thank you.
Cheers, bro. Talk to you soon, yeah?
Peace.
Peace, man.